So before starting this session, I would like to clarify some queries raised by some subscribers. If you have any query, you can connect with us on any social media platform mentioned in the description. And so many people even ask me where you can find the MCQs, multiple choice questions after the session. So those questions can help in your learning or retention. So for that also, you can find the link in the description and you can just attempt those questions. Those are very useful, well researched and well curated questions specifically for that particular day's session. Then you can find the session Jupyter notebook and the task sheet, which involves various good questions and have a mini project. So both the sheets of session notebook and the task I have committed to the repository. So you can find from there. I'll mention the link in the description. Now let's quickly move to this today's session. That is Python operators and conditional statements, which is if else. We will be learning those topics which are very crucial, because if your fundamentals are strong, then definitely those will help you a lot in the future. And also, you know that when you try to work on any big problem and then you find that you are not even able to resolve those fundamental queries, those fundamental questions which are very basic. And because of that, I'm giving so much of emphasis on these fundamentals. And once we are done with this, and then you will see that you are much more confident in handling those big tasks. Okay. So let's quickly move to the today's topic, that is Python operators and conditional statements, which is if else and if elif. Okay. So first let me explain you. Okay. And then we'll jump on the coding examples. So let's understand what are the operators. So operators are the special symbols, or you can say keywords, which are used to perform some operations on variables and values, right? So you can say the symbol between variable and value. So for example, so like we say, sum equals to a plus b, right? Here sum is the variable and a plus b is the value of that variable, correct? And here this symbol is known as the operators. And Python supports various kinds of operators. For example, we have arithmetic, in which we perform addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Then we have relational. In that, we calculate the less than, greater than, correct? And then next, we have logical. And in logical, we have the and, or, not. Then we have bitwise. So bitwise operators are used to perform bit level operations, which also have and, or, XOR, and left shift, right shift. We will shortly understand all those. Then we have assignment operator, which is the equal to sign. And last but not the least, we have membership operators, which is in and not in. Okay. So let's try to understand them one by one. Okay. So the first type of operators are the arithmetic operators, correct? In this, we have addition, which is plus, then subtraction, which is this sign, and then we have multiplication, division, integer division, then modulo, and then power of. So how does this work? For example, we have a equals to 5 and b is equals to 2, correct? So if we try to perform addition on this, then the results will be 5 plus 2, which is 7, which is basic maths. Then when we perform subtraction, which is 5 minus 2, we will get 3. Then we perform multiplication, which is 5 multiplied by 2, we will get 10. Then we have division, we will get here 2.5, correct? A float value. Then we have the integer division, which is very useful and very important, right? So here what we will get, when we perform 5 integer division 2, then we will get only 2, because it will ignore the 0.5, which is not an integer, correct? So we will only get the integer value. Sometimes it's very useful. I'll just show you in the example. Then we have the modulo. So in modulo, we get 1. We only get the remainder of that particular operation. So here we will get 1. And then we have power of. So for example, if I perform like 5 power of 2, then I will get the value as 25, correct? So these are the basic understanding of the arithmetic operators. So let's quickly understand them in the code. So now we quickly take a real life example. So for example, I have these values here. What I will do, I'll quickly copy and paste them in the Python code, and I will remove these values. Okay, then I'll just hit shift enter. Okay, okay, now I hit shift enter. Okay, so here if I want that total price, right? So what I'll do, so here first we perform the addition operation. So let's say we want the total price. So what we will do, entry price plus exit price, correct? So we will get the value. See here 305, because 150 plus 155, obviously 305, correct? Then you perform the subtraction. In that, what we can do, we can just change the value from plus to minus, and when we hit shift enter, we get the value -5. Then we have the subtraction, then we have the multiplication. So similarly, just put a star sign there and we get the multiplied value. Then we have the division, and in division we just place the sign and we get the value 0.96. Now you tell me in the comments what you will get when we perform the integer division, which is double slash. Just pause the video and comment down to check your understanding. And still, if you're not able to answer, and then go back to the explanation and watch it again. Okay, so when I hit shift enter here, I'll get the value 0, correct? Because it's less than 1. But if I change this value just like 156, like just more than 155, then I'll get 1, correct? Then we have the modulo operator. In modulo also, you just pause the video and try to answer yourself, so that your learning increases, so that you are able to analyze whether you have understood the topic or not. In modulus, we will only get the remainder, right? So when I hit shift enter, I get 5, because 160 divided by 155, we are left with the remainder, that is 5. And then in last, we have power off, correct? In power off, what we can do, we can take the exit price. Okay, so here when I like power of 2, so here it means exit price and then square. So square of the exit price. When I hit shift enter, I get the value 24025, which is 155 multiplied by 155, correct? So now let's quickly move to the second type of operators, which is the relational operators. So here now we have relational operators. For example, we have the entry price, which is let's say 100, and we want to exit at 150, correct? So entry price is 100 and exit price is 150. So first, if I want to check the greater than, so if you write a line of code like entry is greater than exit, correct, then you will get the output as false, because relational operators always gives the boolean value true or false. So here we will get as false, right? If I replace it with this sign, the less than, then we get the value as true. What if I replace this with greater than equal to? So let's say if I do like this, then also I will get the value as false, correct? If I replace it with less than or equal to, then I get the value as true, because it is less than. And when we have the equals to operator, and here of course it is false, but if I change the value, this value to 150, then I get the value of this as true, correct? This one. Now if I replace it with the not equal to, then you tell me what will be the answer. Just pause the video and write your answer below. Because here we know the entry price is 150 and exit is also 150, so here we will get the result as false, because it is true, because both the values are equal, right? Now what we do, we first complete the explanation, then we will take example of each type of operators and we will perform on Visual Studio. Okay, now we have the logical operators, and these are used to combine the conditional statements. Let's see how. For example, let's take the same example, like I have the entry price as 100 and exit price as 150, right? So now we have two variables and we want to apply the AND logical operator on these two variables. So how we can do that? We can compare the two conditions, and if both the conditions are true, and then only we will get the output as true. If any one condition is false, then we will get the value as false. So in AND operation, all the values should be true, then only we will get the output as true, right? So let's say we compare if entry is greater than 50, and so here we are applying the AND operation, and exit's price should also be greater than 100. right? So these are true conditions. If both the conditions are true, then only we will get the output as true. When we check that entry is 100, which is greater than 50, it is true, right? Then exit, which is 150, which is also greater than 100. So means both the conditions are true, and we will get the overall output as true, correct? And similarly in OR, what happens if any one of the condition is true, then we will get the output as true. So let's say I remove this, I add OR here. So here let's change the condition from 50 to 150, correct? Now I know that the entry price is 100 and I'm checking the condition that 150. So entry is not greater than 150. So this condition is false, right? This is false condition. And in the second condition, the exit, which is 150, is greater than 100. So I can say, yeah, this is true. This is true. So here one is false and second is true, but still we will get the output as true. Because in OR, if any one of the condition is true, you will get the output as true. In the last, we have the NOT. We have the NOT logical operation. So in NOT, what happens? It will just invert the real condition. For example, if we have a condition which is true, and if we apply NOT on that, then we will get the output as false. It will just invert the real condition. Okay, for example, if we apply on this, so I'll just remove these all things, and here I apply the NOT function. Okay, so the NOT function is NOT. Here I know that entry, which is 100, so 100 is greater than 150, which is not true, means it is false condition. In reality, it is false condition, but I have applied the NOT here, so the output will be true. It will just reverse the real output. Now we quickly move to the bitwise operators. So bitwise operators are used to perform bit level operations. We have two bits, right? 0 and 1. So in bitwise also we have the AND operation. Okay, how does this works? For example, you have two values, A equals to 2 and B equals to 3, correct? So Python internally converts these values to bits and then perform the operation. Then it performs the operation and gives us the value in decimal. Okay, so let's quickly convert these values in bits. So the binary equivalent of 2 is 0, 1, 0, and the binary equivalent of 3 is 0, 1, 1, right? So now if I perform the AND operation here, so now we have A and B. So first we will apply the AND operation here. Okay, so what will be the output? So now we are applying AND on these 2 and 3, right here. So 0 and 0, 0, 1 and 1, when, so in AND we know that what happens, if both the values are true, then only we will get the output as true, which is 1. So which is 1, then 0 and 1, here 1 is false, so we will get the false. So 0, 1, 0. So means we can say we get the value as 0, 1, 0, which is equal to 2. Here the output will be 2. So now let's apply OR here, right? So I will apply OR on these variables. So now let's recalculate. So here 0 or 0, 0, 1 or 1, 1, 0 or 1, 1, because in OR, if any one condition is true, we get the output as true. So here the output will be 0, 1, 1, and we can say that is equal to 3. So here the output will be 3, correct? So now the next is XOR. So let's apply XOR here. Okay, so in XOR what happens? Whenever both the conditions are true, then it becomes false. Otherwise the rest is same like the OR operation. Okay, let's suppose here we apply the OR operation. So if both the values are not 1, then we apply the simple OR operation. Okay, here it will be 0. Now we know that both the values are 1, 1, so we will get as 0. And in next we know that both the values are not 1, so we will apply a normal OR operation, which is 1. So we will get the value as, and that is equivalent to 1. So here the output will be 1, correct? So it is that simple. And if you just practice few multiple choice questions and then a task, and then all of your doubts will be cleared. I promise that. But if you still have any doubt, then feel free to reach us via the comments or Discord or Telegram. Now we have the NOT operation. In NOT, what happens? It just invert all the bits. Okay. So for example, we have a variable a which is equals to 2, and the binary equivalent of that is 0 1 0. Correct? If I apply not operator on this, so we can apply that with this symbol and a, then I will get the output as the invert of these bits. It will just invert these bits. So 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and 0 becomes 1. So 1 0 1. Correct? And which is equal to, I'm not sure. Let me check. I guess let's quickly write 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1. Then I guess 4 is 1 1 0, 5 is 1 0 1. I guess it is 5, right? Let me quickly check. Binary, yeah, 5, correct. So it's been a long time. In college time we have read these, right? So I forgot already. So you get the idea. It will just invert all the bits. So this is how this works. Now we have left shift and right shift. Okay, for example, we have a value a equals to 5. Okay, in this we write 8 bit, right? So we have 1 0 1, and then we add 5 zeros here. Okay, now we want to shift it left with 1. So we write like 5 left shift 1. Correct? Means here these values will be shifted to the right side. Okay, to the right side. So here what we will do, first we will discard this leftmost 0 and we will add another 0 here. So what it will become, after discarding these, we are left with 4 zeros. So 1 2 3 4, then we have 1 0 1, and we have added another 0. It becomes 10, right? So here we will have the output as 10. You can quickly pause the video and try this in code. Okay, now we have the right shift, and the concept is same here. We will right shift the value by whatever the value we have mentioned. So for example, we have a value a is equals to 2, and the binary equivalent of that is 10 1 0 0, and we will apply 3 zeros here. Okay, now the same concept applies here. We will discard the rightmost value. Okay, we discard it and we add another 0 here. Okay, so what it becomes, so now what we are left with, we have this value, that is 1 0 1 0, and then we have these 3 zeros 0 0 0, and we have added another 0. So this is the value we are left with, and which is a decimal equivalent to 10. We will get the value as 10. So it was a long session, but it is very crucial. So now we quickly move to the next part, which is assignment, and that's very easy. We always use that. We have, this is the assignment operators, and we use this assignment operator in conjunction with other operators like the addition, subtraction, multiplication. For example, we have a value a is equals to 2 and b is equals to 2. Okay, here what I can do, I can write like a equals to a plus 2. So instead of this, I can write, here we are using the assignment operator. We can also write like a equals to a multiplied by 2, and so this syntax can also be written as a multiplied by equal to 2. So it just shortens the code. Here we don't have like in C++, we used to have a plus 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 a, because that is sometimes becomes very confusing. Hope you have understood it, and if any issue, then just practice this, and still issue, then ask us. Now we have the membership, which is very interesting and very useful. And the example of this is, let's say we have a string as Singapore. Okay, so make sure this is a capital string. Okay, now I want to check if this string contains the capital S. So what I will do, if I write S in Singapore, so it will give me the value as true. Okay, if I just change this value to small s, right, it's small, then it will give me the value as false. Okay, so this is how we use the in, and it helps a lot because instead of applying a loop here, we are just getting the value in just single line. So it can be a long string, and it's really very useful. Similarly, we can use the not in also. So how you can do, you just write not in, and when I run this s, so it's a small s, right? So s not in Singapore, it will give me true because the small s doesn't exist in this the string. But if I just change it to capital S, okay, and when I apply this, it will give me false because capital S is existing in Singapore. So this is how we use the membership operation. It just check whether particular character or any particular value is a member of the larger group or not. So that's how it works. Let's quickly move to the screen and perform some real life examples. Okay. So now let's quickly take an example of relational operators. So here we take the same value, and when we come here and apply the value and apply the operators, so what I can say, like entry price is less than the exit price, but we know that both are equal. Okay, so it will give me the false value, correct? See here, false, correct? And the next is greater than. So if I apply that, so it will also give me false because we know that both are equal, correct? Then next we have greater than or equal to. So if I apply that, then it will give me the true value because we know that it is not greater, but it is equal. So when we hit shift enter, we get the value as true. And the same goes for the less than equal to, and the same goes for the equal to because it's equal to. But the interesting thing is when I apply it to the not equal to, it will just invert the real operation. Here we know that it is equal to, but when I apply the not equal to, it will give me the value as false. See here. So that simple the relational operators are. So now let's quickly check the logical operations. So in that also we will take the value entry and exit. So entry and exit. Okay. And we apply the AND operation here. So in AND what happens? Both the conditions should be true. Then only we will get the output as true. So for example, if I check that entry price is greater than 100, which is true, and exit price is greater than 150, which is also true. So means both the conditions are true, and when I hit shift enter, we get the value as true. Okay, and when we apply OR here, so in OR, if any one condition is true, then we will get the output as true. So here what we can change, I will just make the value as 15. So here we know that the entry price is not greater than the 100 because it is 15 now, but we know that the exit price, the second one, is true, right? So when we hit shift enter, it still gives me the true answer. Next we have not. So in not, it just inverts the real output. Here we know that the output is false, right? But here if I apply not, then I get the value as true. So this is how you can use these, and when we will create the big problems, and then you will see a lot of use of these operators. And you can also perform the MCQ and task given in the description for your practice. And please work on the mini project which I have given in the GitHub repository notebook. It will definitely improve your understanding. Now we quickly perform the bitwise operations. So in bitwise we have like a equals to 1 or b equals to 2, right? So if I type a is b, we get the value as 0 because I have already explained you 1 is equal to 001 and 2 is equal to 010, correct? So in AND both the values should be true, then only we get the true value. But here we can see here that two values are true, so that's why we get the value as 0. Similarly, if I, okay, let me keep this and comment it out so it will be better for your understanding. So let's apply OR here. But in OR, we know that we just want one value as true. So here 00 becomes 0, 10 becomes 1. So 011 is equal to the decimal 3. That's why we get the value 3. Then we have the XOR. So in XOR, you just think that if both the values are 1, 1, then it inverts to 0. Otherwise, the rest operations are all exactly the same as OR operation, right? So here if I apply the OR operation, the XOR operation, we get the value as 3 as we have already seen in the example. And now we apply the NOT. In NOT what happens? It just inverts the bit values. So if I apply the NOT here, I get the value as -2, right? So why? Because 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and 0 becomes 1. And the 2's, and it gives us the value of 2's equivalent. You can just test in your machine. Now we have the left shift and right shift. For example, we have a equals to 5. And when we want to left shift the bit values of 5, so what we can do, we can write 5 left shift 1. When we hit shift enter, we get the value as 10. So now for the right shift, for example, we have b equals to 20, and we want to shift b to the right by 1. So when we hit shift enter, we get the value as 10. So you can just practice these things. Let me know if you have an issue. Next, we have the assignment operators. For example, a equals to 2. Okay, and you want to print that a equals to a plus 2. Okay, so instead of this, you can write like a plus equals to 2. Okay, so this is the basic assignment operation, and you can like try with multiple things here. And here we have like membership. So membership, for example, I take a string as, let's say, India. India. Then I want to check whether I in India or not. So it will give me because I exist in India, and yes, I exist in India, but currently in Singapore. And now if I check small I, so it will also give me the value as true because small I also exists in India. But if I check with capital A, it will give me false because in India we have so small a, correct? Now similarly we have the not in operations. So when I apply a not in India, which is true, right? So it will give me the value as true. So this is what, so these are the operators, and we have given enough time. If you watch the video with full concentration and attend the MCQ, and then you perform the task with the mini project, then I can vouch that you will never need to read this topic again in your life ever. Okay, just one time with full concentration. Okay, now we have the conditional statements, which are if else, if elif. So now quickly understand them, and then we will proceed with the examples. For example, we have a entry price which is equals to 100 and a exit price which is equals to 150. So the syntax of if is if entry is greater than exit and then a colon, then print. Okay, so here we can print our statement, whatever it is, we will just learn. Here we have else again colon, and then print another statement here, right? Whatever it is. So it is how if else work. And for example, I have more than two conditions. Okay, for example, let's say we have one more variable, we can say stop loss. Okay, so stop loss is, let's say, 80, correct? So if I want to check if entry is greater than exit, which is not true here, then we can give another statement here. Okay, here like if elif, here also I can give that if exit is greater than stop loss, here also colon, and then in last we can give else. So whatever the else condition, we can print it out here. Here also we can print something. This is how this works. And what about the nested if else? So in nested if else, what happens? Like in the else condition, we can compare few more conditions. Okay, for example, in else we are giving else if, like if you're writing a code for a strategy, so here you can write like if trade executed. If trade executed means trade is equal to 1, then you will print here that trade executed, right? Else just print here not successful, correct? Not. This is how a nested if else works. Means another if else condition inside the already existing if else condition. So let's quickly take an example, and then we proceed with the multiple choice question, and then you proceed with the multiple choice questions and the task. Now we quickly proceed with the example. So first we check the if else. So here we write if entry price is greater than the exit price, then it should print that entry price is, it should print that entry price is greater than exit price, right? Else it should print. I'll just copy and paste this print statement here. Exit price is greater than entry price. Okay, here we have the value of entry price is 165 and the value of exit price is 155. Means here I have to write as greater than, then only it will make sense. So when I hit shift enter, so here it will give me the first statement. If I just change the value to less than, then it will print the second statement, which is exit price is greater than entry price. So this is how the simple if else works. And now let's check the if elif. Okay, so in if elif we have more than two conditions. So first we will check if entry price is greater than exit price. Second, we will check elif entry price is greater than stop loss price. Okay, and in third we can check for any other statement. So let's so in second we can write, so we can print here that entry price is greater than SL price, correct? And in the else statement, we can just write like anything, right? We can say that both the conditions are not true. So I'll write like this, and here like this, both the conditions are not true, right? Are not true. So when I hit shift enter, we get the value as entry price is greater than, I'll make it entry price is greater than the exit price. But what if I want to execute this second one? So we can make it as 145. Okay, and stop loss we can make it as 144. So when we do that, when we hit shift enter, the second statement will be executed, right? And what if I want to execute this third one? Both the conditions are not true, means entry price is also not greater than the exit price. Here I will make it as 148. So when I execute this, we will get the result as both the conditions are not true. So here how the if elif works. Now the last is nested if else. So in nested we have if else condition inside a if else condition. Here I wanted to check if elif, if shares count is greater than 5, then print, I'll just copy and paste, then print you can say share count is greater than 5, right? Else you can print else you can print share count is not greater than 5, right? So for that the second condition has to be executed, right? So in elif, to execute the elif, what we will do, we will make the entry price should be greater than the stop loss price, so 144. And then okay, so now when we run this, we get the statements like the entry price is greater than SL price, which is true for this case, and then it will print that share count is greater than 5 because we have the share count as 10. So this is how the if else, if elif and nested if else works. I highly recommend you again that please go for the multiple choice questions. Those questions are well researched, and once you're done with those, then just head to the GitHub repository where you will find task and the mini project. So once you are done with that, you will be the pro in Python algo trading in 100 days. I can vouch for that. Okay. Now let's quickly start with the Python modules. So first of all, what are Python modules? For example, when you write a piece of code and in that code you have multiple functions, multiple classes, but what you want that once you have written the code, then anyone can use this. So what you will do, you will just submit that code into the Python official repository. And then if it gets approved, then they will add this in the official Python package. If not, then you can also host your own code at your repository or somewhere else. And if anybody wants that, they can just import and use that. In short, we can say modules are the block of codes written by someone else and using by someone else, right? So it makes our life very easy that we don't need to write the whole code again, and simply we can just import and use that. For example, here I am just showing you these 4 modules, but there are a lot of modules for everything, right? Virtually you will be finding modules for each and everything. Okay, so let's start with the first module, which is math. So in order to import the math module, you just need to write import math. Okay, and whenever you want to import any module, you have to write import, and then you write the name of that particular module. And when you hit shift enter, and if there is no error, that means that module has been imported. Then you can use that. So what we will do, we will just type math, then dot. After that, it will display all the functions in that module. So you can see here we have a cos and then a sine, like all the trigonometrical functions. Then you can see the degree, exponential, factorial. So let's check the factorial of 5. When I hit shift enter, we can see that we have the value 120. But when we write the code for factorial, it becomes lengthy, right? That in just a single line of code, we can do many powerful mathematical operations of this. Let's try one more thing. For example, floor. And in floor, what happens, like if we have a value 6.5, it will give me 6. Like when we want to round off the values, so if I select the floor, then it will select the less value. For example, if I select here seal, so in seal it will select the upper value, right? So that's how the floor and ceiling works. Then again, we can test math dot square root. So if you want to check the square root of 25, then you can see that it is 5, and you can take any number here. For example, 196, it is 14. So this is how you can use the math module here. And now we check the keywords. So for keywords also, you have to import it. So what you will do, you will just type the import, then the name of that module, that is keyword. And when you hit shift enter, if there is no error, means it has been imported. Then what you can do, if you want to see the list of keywords in Python, so what you can do, you can just write print, and then you type the keyword dot kw list, right? And when you hit shift enter, you can see a list of all the keywords in Python. So means these keywords you cannot use in your code. Next, we have random module. So in random module, what happens, you can generate random numbers. So there are multiple functions in that also. So let me show you a few of them. So similarly, we import random, and when we hit shift enter, there is no error, means it has been imported. Then I type random dot. Then you can see all the functions of this random module. There are multiple functions, but for now, I'll just use the rand int. So in this, we have to give a range. So I'm giving a range here from 1 to 100. So every time I run this code, it will generate me a random number between 1 and 100. So let's press shift enter. You can see we have 46. Then when I again press shift enter, I have 24. Next 87, and next 93. Okay, so this is how the random module works. Now I show you the last module for this session, import date time. When I hit shift enter, yeah, it's working fine. And now, for example, I want to check the current time. So what I will do, date time dot now. So it is also very useful a lot of times. Let's print this. So when we print it, we can see that the current time is 14th of May, 5:54 a.m. and it gives you the exact timing. Here also you have multiple functions and you can use as per your requirement. You can see here we have date, then time delta, time zone, TZ info, UTC, and multiple options. So you can explore later on. Now quickly we take an example. So in this, we will try to check the initial stock price and volatility. So let's consider that we have a stock. So let's take a new cell here, and let's suppose we have initial price of any stock $150, and then we take the volatility as 0.5%. So I'll take 0.05. correct? Because that is the percentage value. So now as we know that in volatility, we don't know, right, whether it will go up or down. For the sake of this example, what we will be doing, we'll just take the random module here. So we will import the random module. Then what I will do, we can take a variable and give it a name like volatility change. Okay, then we will use the random function here. So random, and here we can use the choice. In this we will give two lists. So one will be negative volatility, then another will be positive volatility. Why we have chosen this? Because we don't know the volatility, right? For the sake of this example, we are taking this. For example, let me show you quickly how it will work. I'll first print the volatility change. So when I print shift enter, it will show me 0.05. Next again 0.05, next again 0.05, again 0.05. So now you can see that it will randomly choose negative of 5% or positive of 5%. So as that happens in the real life example. Okay, so hopefully you have understood the random function here. So I'll just remove it. So now I will take another variable, that is daily price change. So what will be the daily price change? So first we have initial price, which is 150, then the percentage of volatility change. So what it will be? It will be the initial price multiplied by volatility change, right? And now when I print it, print daily price change, and when I hit shift enter, you can see now I have 157.5. For example, one day I have my price as 157.5, the next it is 142.5, same, and again shift enter, because it is taking randomly, right? So we cannot say when will be the value, when will be the positive, and when will be the negatives. And that's exactly happens in the real life. So this is how we can use the random module. Now we take another variable for the today's date. So what we can say, today equals to, now we will be importing the date time module. So date time, today equals to date time dot date time dot today, right? Let me check it. Hopefully it is correct. Let me just quickly print it, and today, yeah, it is correct. So now we have today's date, and then we have the daily price change and the volatility change. So what we can do, we can print out these values. So first I will print today's date, okay, which is, we can say, today. Okay, then we will print, okay, let me quickly copy and paste this instead of writing. So then I will print the initial price. Okay, so it will be initial price, so it will be this. Then I can print the price change. So let me remove these. Okay, then I will print the new price, so which is the daily price change, correct? And when I hit shift enter, you can see we have today's date is 14th of May, 6:05 a.m. Then the initial price is 150, and then the new price is 142.5. Then when I again hit shift enter, it is same, but the time is changed. Now you can see that we have the new price, because randomly it is taking the percentage volatility change. So this is how it happens in the real life trading. Then we quickly move to the modules. Then if you want to know the number of modules, the name of modules in the Python, what you can do, you can quickly type help and then modules. Okay, and when you hit shift enter, you will be displayed a list of all the modules in your Python. Okay, so this is very basic. Now we move to the today's main topic, that is loops in Python. This is absolutely important because you will be using loops everywhere, right? And if you have a good understanding of loops, then it will always benefit you, and it will help tremendously in your logic building. It is super important. Okay, so now we quickly discuss why we need loops. So first of all, So many people don't even understand why we need loops. So in short, I'll give you a simple definition that whenever you want to repeat a same process, a same activity multiple times, then you have to use loops. Otherwise, your program will be inefficient and you have to write same code for same thing multiple times. So for example, let me show you one real life example. So let's quickly open an e-commerce platform. So let's say I'll open Lazada, which is a Singapore based e-commerce platform. So let me open the Apple iPhone 15 and okay, let me search first. Okay, so I'll search iPhone 15. Okay, so here you can see that we have multiple results for the keyword iPhone 15, and precisely if you see, there are 10,557 items found for iPhone 15. But here if you observe, there is a similarity in each of the results displayed here. And if you have observed already, here you can see first we have the image of the item, correct? Here is the phone, and then this is the phone case. It doesn't matter what is the item, but you can see the similarity, which is first is the photo of that item. Then we have a carousel of multiple photos. Here the seller have put the 4 photos, but here only one picture, and here no picture. So that is the second similarity. Then there is the name of that item. Here is the Apple iPhone 15. Next is the military grade shock proof transparent TPU phone case. Then we have the price. Then we have the off, correct? And then the number of items sold, and then the review, and then the location, the origin of the item. So here it is Singapore and here it is China. Here you can say that there are few functions which have some variables and methods, and those are exactly the same, only the value is changing, right? Means the programmer have written only one loop and he's running an iteration over that. He's not writing each code for separate item, right? And if you go for that, then you have to write 10,557 block of code for only for the iPhone 15 keyword. And here we can see we have million of items, and it becomes absolutely disaster for anyone to write that much longer code. So instead we use loops, means we have written a single piece of code, then we are using that multiple times, correct? So let me quickly show you with an example. So in Python, majorly we have 2 loops. One is while loop and another is for loop. So in while loop, what happens? So when we use a while loop, it is used when the number of iteration is not known beforehand. So we don't know how many times we have to run the loop. And again, the loop continues as long as the condition is true. So for example, if any condition is true, then it will keep on running. It will not stop until and unless that condition becomes false. And for the loop, it is used when we know the number of iterations or when we have a sequence like from 1 to 10 or any sequence, and the loop continues for each item in the sequence. Okay, so like we have 10 items, then it will run for only 10 times. Okay, so let's quickly take an example of while loop. So for example, we have current price, which is $150. Then we have a target price. So target price is 155, right? So we want to check whether the current price is greater than the target price or less than the target price. So normally we can use if else conditions. For example, if current price is less than target price, print, then print price is still below the target price, correct? Else print, now the price is above the target price and you can sell the stock. So now if you check with the if else condition, it will show that price is still below the target price. But the problem is it will just check for one time and it will stop, right? But in real life, when we are trading, the price is always going up and down and up and down. So we have to always check, and we want to know that once the price is hit our target price, we will execute the trade, whether buy or sell. So in order to achieve that, we need to use the while loop. Okay, so what I will do, I will write while the current price is less than target price. I will remove this, not needed. Okay, so if the current price is less than the target price, it will always display that price is still below the target price, correct? So what I will do here, so I will use a while statement here. Okay, so I will just write while the current price is less than target price, I want to print, I will remove this if because it is not required as we have already checked the condition here. So until and unless the current price is target price, it will always print that the price is still below target price, correct? But in real life, the price is always keeps increasing or decreasing. So to simulate that, what we can do, we can increment the current price with 1 in each iteration, correct? So what it will do, it will first check the current price is less than target price. Yes, it is. Then it will print that price is still below the target price, and then it will increment that price with 1. So next time it will become 151, correct? So when the condition is not true, then it will print that so now the price is above the target price and you can sell the stock. Okay, so what I will do here, I will run the program. Okay, and you can see that it printed 5 times that the price is still below, then it incremented, and then in the 6th time we know that 151 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, it keeps on increasing, and when it reaches 155, it comes out of that loop and it prints the statement. Okay, so this is how the while loop works. It's very easy. We will take a few more examples, and then you can attempt the multiple choice questions, and then you should go for the task. These are well researched and well curated, and it will help you a lot. Okay, so now we quickly move to the while else. So in Python we have while else also. It is also useful sometimes. So let me show you when and how. So now we quickly take an example of while else. So what we will do, let's define a list for price. So here I will give few prices like 110, 112, 114, 116 and 118, and then I have a threshold price. Okay, so threshold price, let's say we take it as 115. Now I want to check that whenever the price reaches above the threshold price, it prints out the first occurrence, right? For example, here when we run the program, so it should display that 116 is the first price above the threshold price, right? Now we break this example into pieces. So what we can do, we will use a while else loop here, and we only want to check the conditions inside this price list. So 1 2 3 4 5, only 5 times, right? So what we can do, we can first check the length of this price. So what we will do, we will assign variable index and we declare it to 0. Okay, then we run the loop while index is less than the length of price, correct? And then we give the colon. So here what is happening, initially index is 0 and length of price is 1 2 3 4 5. So the while loop runs only for 5 times, right? Then what we need to do, we need to increment the index also in every iteration. So index equals to index plus 1 by 1. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to apply if and else condition to check whether the price greater than or less than the threshold price. So here we will apply if the price of index is greater than threshold price, then what should it do? It should print that the price at will print out the, so we will just format it. So the price at price index breaches the threshold price which is correct. So what it will do, it will print that the price, it will display the price breaches the threshold and it will display the threshold price. If you want, you can also display the index number also. So you can just type here the index, correct? So it will print out that, right? Then we go to the next line. So if the price breaks the threshold price, it will break it. It will break the while loop and then it should print that search, and then it should print that search is completed, correct? So here, so let's try with this and then we will improvise further. So when I hit shift enter, you can see that the price that is 116 breaches the threshold price 115 at 3 because the index of 116 is 3, 0 1 2 3, correct? Now I want to display the else also, correct? So in case when there is no breach, it should also display that there is no breach. So how we can achieve that? Now we will be using the else statement. Else means when there is no breach. So print there is no price breach, correct? So when this will happen, when the value is never above the threshold price, correct? So I can make it any other value, like ones, okay, 111, okay, no problem, 11112 also can. Okay, so now when I hit shift enter, you can see that there is no price breach, right? Until and unless if the price is anywhere greater than the threshold, it will display that. For example, on the first index also, if I make it 120, and then it will show that the price 120 breaches the threshold price 115 at index 0. So this is how the while else works, and it will be useful sometimes. So now if you have any doubt, just comment down or join our Discord community where we will discuss all the queries. Okay, now we quickly move to the for loop. So as we have already discussed, what is for loop? It is used when the number of iteration is known. Now we know the number of iterations, or when iterating over a sequence. We already have a sequence. It can be a list, it can be a dictionary, or it can be any sequence. For example, alphabets, any counting, it can be anything, right? Then the second condition is the loop continues for each item in the sequence. Okay, now we quickly take an example where we will calculate the average closing price over a 5-day period. So what we can do, instead of that, we can just take the earlier example, and here we can make it the closing price, right? So let's say this is the closing price of day 1, 120 is the closing price of day 1, and 112 is the closing price of day 5. So we want to calculate the average closing price of this time period, right? So in order to calculate the average price, we should be having the total price divided by the number of days, right? So what we can do for now, we can declare a variable and give it the value 0 as the total price. So now what we will do, we will run a for loop on this. So for I in closing price, correct? Then total price is equals to total price plus I, right? So what will happen? First the total price is 0, then equals to total price, which is 0, plus I, which is 120. So in first iteration it will be 120. So now in the second iteration, total price becomes 120. Okay, so then 120 plus 122. So it keeps on checking it, and finally after 5 iterations it will calculate the total price, and then we can print it out. So but here we want the average price, right? Average closing price. So what we will do, average closing price equals to total price divided by the number of days. So the number of days is length of the list, correct? So this is the average price, and now we can quickly print that the average closing price for 5 days is this average closing price. And when we hit shift enter, we get the value 113.8. So this is how the for loop works. So now I will update the multiple choice questions, which is 20, and the task list, which is very important for you, and you have to do this. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, then you have to do something extraordinary. You have to complete the all 20 multiple choice questions, and you have to complete the all task and with mini project. So every day you are solving a lot of questions and you are practicing now. It will make you a pro algo trader. Once you complete these 100 rigorous days of hell, you will be a person you never imagined. So complete all these tasks with discipline. And if you have any query, you just let us know. We are here to help you. So see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day.